So we're here today to talk about something which has happened. Thankfully it happened in 2010, so I think it's about time I talked about it. I feel very sorry for Gerald. Been ill-treated, and he's had his review of the S9 blocked because he didn't get a camera, he didn't get invited to Tokyo, so I can understand why he's thrown his toys out the pram. It's dreadful. Terrible. Absolutely the worst thing that a camera company can possibly do. But anyway, we have here United States District Court, Central District of California lawsuit from Red. A Washington corporation, Landmine Media Incorporated, a Colorado corporation, and James Jannard, an individual best known for being a billionaire and founding Oakley's, of course. The defendant is apparently me, Andrew Reid, an individual, and EOSHD.com, an unknown entity. You know me now, though, don't you, Jim? So, the complaint. Shall we have a look at the complaint and what it says? Filed October the 6th. So the complaint is for slander. Why would I ever slander anyone? Publication of facts placed in false light. Trademark infringement and unfair competition. Yep, I mean, Red, I know that I am probably the biggest competition to Red when it comes to cinema cameras. And so let's have a read about what it says. $75,000 they're suing me for here. Plaintiff Jannard is an individual residing in Las Vegas, Nevada. Mr. Jannard also owns a private island. Jim Jannard also maintains a separate residence in Orange County, California, and conducts business in Hollywood and Orange County, California. You can see how I am the biggest competition to poor little Jim Jannard here. The plaintiffs are informed and believe, and therefore upon allege, that defendant Andrew Reid, hereinafter referred to as Reid, is a citizen. How about Mr. Reid? Thank you very much. Is a citizen of the United Kingdom. Plaintiffs are informed and believe that Reid's residence is 25 Simpson Street in Manchester, which was indeed where I used to live. Unfortunately for them, I'd moved out by the time this lawsuit dropped to me by email. So, good luck finding me now. Plaintiffs are informed and believe, and therefore allege, that defendant EOSHD is the alter ego of Reid. The domain listing for the website lists Ayako Lee of Camera Street, SK1 1NT, Camera Town, Great Britain. I think I was quite clever there to evade Red and the Jannard tank by putting my postcode as SK1 1NT, which clearly reads skint. This information is clearly erroneous. Found me out. I can't believe that. For example, Reid uses EOSHD.com to advertise his photography services. Plaintiffs reserve the right to amend their complaint upon gathering further information about the relationship between Reid and EOSHD and the control of EOSHD. Plaintiffs are informed and believe and therefore allege that Reid is the owner-operator of a website located at the domain www.eoshd.com It goes on and on like with this silly sentence. Informed and believe and therefore allege that Reid uses the following usernames on message boards. We're getting deep into the criminal activity now, aren't we? So, yeah, the Reid uses the following usernames on message boards: Red user and DVX user. Commander Spike, Video DSLR. It's definitely not me. Spike's Ghost, Robot 2D, NEXT, nothing to do with Sony mirrorless cameras, Z-Finder, which apparently is at the email address andrewtheunicorn@gmail.com. Dentist Northampton at Gmail, I don't remember that one. Micro Macro and EOSHD. And you know why I had to use so many usernames on DVX user? Because they kept banning me for just speaking my mind. The plaintiffs are informed and believe and therefore allege that defendant is the alter ego of all these cyber entities. I have to get the FBI involved in this. The factual background is that Red is the innovator, manufacturer and seller of high-definition digital still and motion picture cameras. Unfair competition. And in 2008, apparently Red released the industry sensation, the Red 1 4K digital cinema camera. In 2009, Red announced two new camera systems, Epic and Scarlet. Now, I've got a feeling this is where it's going to all go a bit wrong. So, they released the Scarlet, and I'll skip forward a bit because we're getting onto the rules of DVX User Forum here. Apparently, you must agree that you will not post any messages that are basically violating any laws. So, I'm safe then. But, however, it looks like there was a pattern of behaviour to demean or defame or slander the reputations of the plaintiffs by speaking truthfully about Scarlet and the fact that they couldn't release it on time. So, the plaintiffs are very upset, clearly. And there was also slanderous comments on Twitter, otherwise known as opinions, regarding me. All the actions involuntarily and collectively give rise to the cause of action asserted in the complaint. Right, now we're getting into the nitty-gritty. Hold on to your hats, people. This is going to be quite a ride. Referring to Red, cannot stand the fact that such an obviously established company can put out all this bullshit and expect it to be taken as read and then fire back and censor people who see through it. It's not a camp in the same way that Red can harbour an elitist club of people. Referring to Red, they've chosen to attack potential future customers, and Jared Land's web forums continue to be an ever-present source of frustration, controversy and strife for the company. Clearly, Red have rather fobbed off the prosumers who were waiting patiently for Scarlet and then stomped all over them on DVX user when they dared to speak about it. Definitely not stomping all over me for that. I mean, clearly, like, a strange accusation that I made. Red have, news of the AF100 went down like a lead balloon on Red HQ, who are already feeling the heat from the HDSLR game changers. Kind of right, really. As many people feel let down by Red's failure to deliver Scarlet, their PR bullshit and the way DVX user, Red user, are run by the Red henchmen. For it to be worthy of the news, henchman is, I'd say, quite an appropriate term given what has just happened here. If you're in Red's position of misled customers and failed to deliver again and again and again in the case of Scarlett, facts, you must be thick-skinned enough to accept criticism. Clearly not very, are they, really? Yeah. So, page 6 we're on now. In an apparent effort to ruin the reputation of Jim Jannard, readers used the methods identified above to impinge? I think that should say impinge. The personal integrity and reputation of Jannard. The following examples are of the false, slanderous and defamatory comments spewed by Reid in his comments on EOSHD and Twitter. Say that Jim Jannard goes on the defensive, deleting valid criticisms of Scarlett on DVX user. Never seen that happen. I have been emailed DVX user screenshots and links to threads that no longer exist, since Jannard deletes what he doesn't agree with. Jim has the red fire engines out tonight. Jannard personally deleting posts on DVX user. Jim Jannard admits it, and it just goes on and on. Like they've trawled through my Twitter for what seems like months to build this kind of list of facts, basically. Referring to those who lack creativity, I was referring to apparently Jim Jannard here. Jim Jannard responded to the ban with a sigh of relief and revealed plans to send Andrew Reid a Christmas present and invite him on the shoot Pirates of the Caribbean 3, using his Panasonic Lumix as a crash camera in person. I honestly can't remember whether that was satire or whether he did actually invite me to the shoot Pirates of the Caribbean 3 to use my Panasonic GH1 as an in-person crash camera. My document scanner is dead, a bit like the good old Scarlett. Anyway, so where were we? On page 7, we have more comments spewed forth by Reid in his comments on EOSHD. So, referring to Red user and DVX user, Reid describes them as their concentration camp web communities. Okay, I admit I may have gone a little bit too far on that one. Jonathan is referring to a new service of EOSHD.com whereby I bring you Jim's rubbish without you having to read it on the Jonestown-style message board. I dip in so that you don't have to. It's quite a good idea, that, to be honest, really. Yeah. Am I a bit too high up here? I feel like I should be a bit lower. That's better. This Reid, he can't keep his fucking mouth shut. We all know that DVX user and Red user go hand in hand. Impartial and unbiased they are not. As many people feel let down by Red's failure to deliver Scarlett, their PR bullshit, and the way DVX user, Red user are run by a Red henchman, for it to be worthy of the news. Censorship is at its worst on places like DVX user, when it's used to hide the truth or manipulate public opinion in line with their own. They would never do that. That's the communist side of censorship. Posted on EOSHD.com. Can't even spell my domain name. Look. On the 10th of the 5th, 2010. They were the days. Red user and DVX user are not democratic public forums. They are simply marketing machines pontificating as forums. They only allow the opinions to stand if they're in line with the moderators. While only a sampling, these examples show a pattern of lies intended to undermine the business and reputation of the plaintiffs. The plaintiffs are further informed and believe and therefore allege that defendant Reid as a personal account at Twitter. Very dangerous. With the username EOSHD. Plaintiffs, Read are informed and believe and therefore allege that defendant readers use this publishing outlet as a forum to continue. Well, it's because I was banned, mate, from your forum, for God's sake. To continue his barrage of slander and malicious tirades against the plaintiffs, individually and collectively. I just didn't like the whole Scarlet thing. I was really looking forward to it, Jim. If you had released Scarlet at all, like on time, in the original spec and the original price, then I would not have had to go on Twitter and express my opinions. The defendants have also spread false and slanderous statements in his post in October. It's really reaching ahead. Gone from May to October, right? And I assume that the now ex, but kind of current CEO of Red, Jared Land, was like collecting all this for a period of 6 months when he should have been running the company. Or at least running the forums, anyway. This was before he got promoted, I'm guessing. EOSHD.com falsely claimed that Red introduced new professional journalism software. A true and correct copy. Remember this. This is actually quite a funny post. So, Exhibit A says, can you imagine this? My blog in court. Here's Exhibit A. It's a satirical comedy blog post about Red. Send him down, says the jury. Go on in with Trump. Handcuff him. Put him in with Trump in the cell. Exhibit A contains quotes falsely attributed to Jim Jannard. Jannard it's in an obvious effect to injure the character and reputation of Jannard and Red, as well as false and slanderous statements regarding Jannard and Red. Nikon, if you're watching this, you are going to owe me a lot of compensation. Defendant, as owner and operator of EOSHD.com, is a forum in competition with Red user and DVX user. You are right in terms of that competition. Is it unfair competition, though? That is the question. Using the sources of the World Wide Web, the defendant used his own forum to not just publish posts that are competitive in nature. No competition, please, we're Red. But to create a soapbox spewing defamation and slander and impuge, that's that strange word again, the character, reputation and business of Red Jannard, Red user and DVX user. Poor billionaire Jim Jannard. Plaintiffs are informed and believe and therefore allege that Reid's posts on EOSHD.com were intended to misrepresent facts about Red and personally attack the character of Jannard. I wish I could remember what that Exhibit A was about, but I think the professional journalism software referred to a satire of me saying that Red were going to launch a competition to WordPress, the popular blogging software. It was something like that. It was very silly. The lies, inaccuracies, falsehoods and misinterpretations have damaged the goodwill, reputation and character of the plaintiffs. As a result of defendants' activities, the plaintiffs have been damaged in an amount that is yet to be determined but believed to be in excess of $75,000. Yeah, I had a real laugh and a great time when this dropped on my doormat, or rather in my inbox, followed by strange calls from a lawyer. You are being sued. Do you know? You probably are aware already. You are being abused by Red. Would you like to pay me $60,000 to reduce your damages lawsuit from $75,000 to just $20,000. Unless this court enjoins defendants' activities, plaintiffs are confident that the barrage of slander, malicious commentary and unfair competition will in fact increase. Yeah, might have done. So the first claim for release is about slander, and it goes on about me attempting to hide, and the personal animosity, hatred towards the camera company. What else have we got? To be honest, I'm getting a bit bored of reading it now. But because it really does go on and on. The second claim for relief, in other words, claim for compensation in terms of $75,000, is publication of facts placing in false light. We'll skip that because it's a load of bollocks. Third claim for relief, false designation of origin and unfair competition under Lanham Act. The allegation of paragraph 1 through 41, that's quite a lot of paragraphs, are repled and rearranged as... I can't read this utter crap, honest. This legal speak. It makes my brain hurt. And what's this? DVHU is a well-known website for those in the industry. More than 50,000 plus visitors in terms of just hits and views each month. Well, actually, mate, EOSHD got 1.5 million, so that's not very impressive, really, is it? Especially as you're a billionaire, I would have thought you'd be able to do more Google AdWords than that. And Landmine Media, you will notice that they only managed to spell it once, because in the subsequent cut and paste legal speak, it says landmark, then back to landmine again. That's interesting. Didn't really check that, did they? You'd think if someone was suing me in a court, they'd know how to spell their own company. The fourth claim for is unfair competition, and this relates to me attempting to hurt the feelings of a billionaire because he was very upset. And it goes on, and it's signed by the legal team at Red. Yeah, there we go. So apparently they were quite upset about my blog. I think what happened here was that it became popular and Jared Land didn't like it because I was just a regular poster on his forums on DVX User, and he pissed me off and censored me. And I couldn't say anything bad about Red. So I decided to do that on Engadget and EOSHD and Gizmodo and DP Review instead. So they had to decide to say, right, look, we're putting a stop to this. Got to stop this. This is gonna be an ongoing thing. Andrew is beyond insane and he's saying nasty things about us. And because he's a billionaire with a very thin skin, he gets upset. So they had to, at all costs, basically shut me up, a bit like Panasonic have done to Gerald by not inviting him to camera launches because he might say bad things about the little pocket full-frame camera. So the thing is here, though, that Red shut me up for a period of over a decade. This was 2010, we're now 14 years later, and I assume this still stands, even though really, legally speaking, it's not worth the fucking paper that it's written on whatsoever. It's absolute load of bollocks, complete bullshit. The only reason I signed it in the first place was because I didn't have any money for a lawyer and I didn't want to go to court in the District of California because at that point I was living in Taiwan on the other side of the world, and then Berlin. So I just couldn't really be bothered, really, to defend myself, which is why they were able to bully me and abuse me and coerce me into signing a non-disparagement agreement, which is, unlike the lawsuit itself, apparently it is fucking worthy of legal action if I break that. And apparently, so I believe, and I may have just broken it. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. Maybe I should check with my lawyer. But the game has changed, hasn't it? And I'm thinking now Nikon have bought Red, and Jannard has sailed off into the sunset with his billions. I'm thinking that it'd be very stupid, wouldn't they, to get out the NDA and go to me with my 4,000 YouTube subscribers and my dead blog because it's got words on it. And it'd be very silly to go to me now and say, look, Andrew, very sorry, but in that last episode of EOSHD on YouTube, you were very nasty about that company we just bought. So I'm going to sue you using the NDA, which you've definitely now broken. And in turn, you're not going to be invited to Tokyo for the Nikon Z10 launch, or the first Nikon Red camera, or the first Nikon mirrorless camera with red coding. And I'll be very upset, because I really like Red. I think they're such an extraordinary company with no issues or skeletons in the closet. And if Nikon are watching this and they feel like making amends, then $75,000 would be quite useful